Hello, welcome to lesson 16. Let's dive right in. It's a good one. I have no neutral thoughts. The idea for today is a beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. There is no exception to this fact. Thoughts are not big or little, powerful or weak. They are merely true or false. Those that are true create their own likeness. Those that are false make theirs. So I put here not only what we see, but how we see it. How you see something is paramount. If I look at a cup of water and I see it as dangerous because it has all these chemicals that have been added to it and I have this fearful experience with it, I'm creating that reality. But if I can look at it with gratitude and appreciation that this cup of water came from my faucet as clean as the city could make it, and that I happen to have a filter that helps filter it to make it even cleaner, and I can just have appreciation and gratitude for this water, that it's here in my house anytime I want it, just turn on the faucet and there it is. What a marvel. The way you see something affects everything. Think about it. Has it ever happened to you that maybe like a family member says, sure, I'll do that, but their attitude sucks? I've been there, being the person who was the grump. It's stupid and it's horrible and it clouds the entire experience for myself and for others. Of course, there are people who are enlightened enough to be able to see my cloud and recognize it as mine and not theirs and not let it affect their day. But I sometimes was hell-bent on making sure that my grumpiness would be everybody's grumpiness. So the way we see things, how we see things, our perception, it's important to get control of it and not let that ego keep driving us into a wall. So I'm back on a little tangent. How about we move on? Paragraph 2. There is no more self-contradictory concept than that of idle thoughts. What gives rise to the perception of a whole world can hardly be called idle. Every thought you have contributes to truth or to illusion. It either extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you will not extend it by doing so. I have a little note here on the side. Thoughts have tremendous power within the dream, but no power within heaven. So this paragraph is just driving home that point that our perception matters. All thoughts matter. You know, because like in the Bible it talks about, there was that passage where Jesus says something along the lines of, it was about adulterers and like not committing adultery, and he says if you so much as think of it, you've committed adultery. I think there he's really talking about harnessing our thoughts and not saying like, oh, I better not think of things about another woman or a man or whatever. My higher self is telling me that that passage was not about suppressing those thoughts and pushing them down, whatever the tempting thought may be, but instead acknowledging them, recognizing them, and going, what is this? Working through it and getting to a point where we are bigger than our thoughts, that we have more strength than our thoughts, that we don't let our thoughts control us, but we control our thoughts. And guys, when you get to that point, you have found power. You have found empowerment. You have gotten to a place where you are becoming the creator and not just a bystander. You're not just watching life happen, but you are realizing that, wait a minute, that life I thought I was watching happen, I was actually creating all along the way, but doing so passively without recognizing that I had a part to play in that. But now I see that I have a part to play in that, and I can change it. Whoa, that's big. Okay. Paragraph 3. Besides your recognizing that thoughts are never idle, salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have either brings peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible because a neutral thought is impossible. There is such a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as unimportant, trivial, and not worth bothering about, that it is essential that you recognize them all as equally destructive, but equally unreal. We will practice this idea in many forms before you really understand it. Ooh, this is such a big paragraph. I might not have realized what a big paragraph it was back then, but I think I did. Check it out. I was really into this lesson. Look at all that underlining. Okay, so there are no neutral thoughts. Everything you think is either of love or of fear, is of peace or of war. That may seem like, oh, you can't make it that black and white. Why not? Think about it. Everything you think, it's either building yourself or someone up or tearing yourself or someone down. And if you're tearing yourself or someone down, get rid of that thought. It is not real, okay? It's not real. The fear you have is not real. How often have you been afraid of something or worried about something and it never even happened? And you wasted all that beautiful time of your life that is the only time you have in that time. You're never going to have that time back again in that exact way, in that exact moment. It's gone. And you wasted it worrying about something that never even was going to happen. It's not real. But what is real is love. Thoughts of love are real. Anytime you express love, anytime you think love, anytime you show love, and I'm talking real love, true love, love that's not tinged with unforgiveness, hatred, or guilt, or shame, or fear, or any of those things that tear us down. Once we've really worked through and shaken off all that junk and gotten to a place where we can be free of that and have unconditional feelings of love for those around us and ourselves, then we're saved. We found salvation, and it was within us, and it was free, and we didn't have to pay somebody to enlighten us. It's available to absolutely everybody. Okay, so here's the part where it has the instructions. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then if there's anything else that pops out, we'll talk about it. In applying the idea for today, search your mind for a minute or so with eyes closed and actively seek not to overlook any little thought that may tend to elude the search. This is quite difficult until you get used to it. You will find that it is still hard for you not to make artificial distinctions. Every thought that occurs to you, regardless of the qualities that you assign to it, is a suitable subject for applying today's idea. In the practice period, first repeat the idea to yourself, and then as each one crosses your mind, hold it in awareness while you tell yourself, this thought about blank is not a neutral thought. That thought about blank is not a neutral thought. As usual, use today's idea whenever you are aware of a particular thought that arouses uneasiness. I can't tell you how many thoughts popped up when I did this the first time. I was like, oh, I'm uneasy. Ooh, I'm uneasy again. It was ongoing, but I could tell you now I feel like it's rare that I have an uneasy thought pop up. But if I do, I have a way to work with it and remove it from my thoughts. The following form is suggested for this purpose. This thought about blank is not a neutral thought because I have no neutral thoughts. 4 or 5 practice periods are recommended if you find them relatively effortless. If strain is experienced, 3 will be enough. The length of the exercise period should also be reduced if there is discomfort. I love this course. It's like a yoga class where they modify it for you depending on your abilities and strengths and weaknesses. The course is not one size fits all. You don't have to do it for exactly 10 minutes and 32 seconds. It's what feels right. And it's all about you getting in tune with recognizing what you're feeling and letting that be a guide to you. So, I have no neutral thoughts. None. If you find this lesson a little overwhelming, thinking, gosh, I have so many thoughts that are in the fear world or the hatred world or the anger world or these places that I don't want to be, it's okay. Take a deep breath, give yourself a hug, and ask for help. But who do I ask for help from? From the higher self, from the source, from God, from the spirit. So, the most important thing is to never beat yourself up. Always give yourself kudos, because if you don't give yourself kudos, who's gonna? Be proud of yourself. You're here, you're doing these lessons, you're making an effort, you're trying. That's all you can do, all right? So, I give you praise. I say awesome job. Accept that praise. Give it back to yourself. Say it to yourself. Think those thoughts of love. And I'll see you tomorrow for lesson 17. Take care.